Good afternoon, everyone. Aron here from the Worley Bugger Fly Company, bringing you your weekly Yakima River fly fishing report from the upper river. Water currently low and clear, 780 this morning. Kind of been staying pretty consistently below 1,000 this week. Fishing's been pretty good. Oh yeah. Woo. Big rainbow. Yeah. Big rainbow. Know-it-all Mike. Missed them. If you find them spots out of the wind, dry fly in the afternoon certainly been fantastic. Nymphing been good. Not a whole lot more to report since last week. Kind of same thing. Caddis, PMDs, a few March Browns around. Salmon flies pretty much finished up, and yellow sallies are pretty abundant currently. So don't be afraid to throw those insects above and below. Next stonefly on the radar, obviously golden stone. Looking forward to that. Hopefully everybody's having a great week. Traffic remains pretty light during the week on the river, at least in the upper section. If you want to get out and fish, give us a shout. We'd love to have you.
On this side?
Don't matter. It's about the same on both sides.
It's a nice fish.
Oh yeah. I mean, we can boogie around the corner. Okay. Host you. If you're a new angler, get you out here, teach you about the fishery and fly fishing in general. If anybody has any questions about any fisheries in Central Washington, please feel free to call the Pro Shop, or if you want to book a trip with us, tight lines. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. See you out here.
Morning, everybody. This is Steve from the Worley Bugger. It is May 23rd, 2024. Standing on the banks of the river here. You just heard from Aron Larsen about the upper river. That was yesterday. So overnight, without, of course, any consideration to the fishing community, they've dumped a wall of water from the Cle Elum reservoir, doing a salmon pulse. They've dropped about 2,000 cubic feet of water from the reservoir during a drought year. So the river is on the rise big time. It still looks okay right here at Rinehart. It's starting to get some color. It's about 12 o'clock. So the water is coming. Doesn't look great in Cle Elum, and going to continue on pushing through the system, creating all kinds of nice erosion, knocking down some more trees in the river. Basically, like we've talked about before, does very little for pushing salmon smolt out of the system. Be interesting to hear what the guys at Rosa Dam had to say, you know, because when you think about it, you know how wide the canyon gets down there below the Rosa takeout. It gets very, very wide and very slow there, and that portion of the river holds a lot of pike minnow, you know, that love to eat small little salmon, you know. So 2,000 cubic feet of water, by the time it gets to that point in the river and it spreads out, it's not very much water at all anymore. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what the guys that operate the fish trap at Rosa Dam had to say about out-migration of smolt. Be very curious to hear their explanation on it and what they see as far as out-migrating salmon going. But before that, you know, it was like Aron was saying, you know, we've had just tremendous hatches, big PMD hatches happening through the farmlands, the upper river, the canyon, still caddis too, big caddis hatches, you know, continuing on. There's caddis hatching here right now, big hatches of yellow sallies. And I'm sure once the river comes back in, we'll start seeing more golden stones happening too. You can see the swallows flying around the river here. So they're snacking on the caddis right now. So gonna be a couple of days before the river, you know, really settles out. For whatever reason, can't really tell you, after 30 years of fishing here, why the Yakima doesn't fish well on the rise. I'm sure if you're fishing today, you're gonna be able to scrape out a couple of fish, but typically, you know, where we see that big water event happen, you know, you're gonna see, you know, low numbers of bugs hatching, you know, minimal water conditions, you know, as far as clarity goes, turbidity, puts a lot of particulates in the water, so just makes it harder, I think, for trout to be able to actually feed effectively. So our fishing, you know, really slows down. But to be back, and being a Memorial Day weekend, you would think that they maybe would have waited until like next week to do a salmon, you know, push. You got all kinds of people, you know, spending all kinds of money to come over and fish, and you know, we come to a river that's high and not in good condition. So we'll just have to see what happens. But typical government organization running just finely tuned. But a few days from now should be back in good shape. I wasn't really expecting this, just like everybody else, and it's hard to even say like if we're gonna see more of these events, you know, over the next week, 2 weeks into the month of June. It's just kind of wait and see. Like I said, no heads up is giving to the fishing community. And you know, these events are planned well in advance. It's not like they just wake up in the morning and decide to dump a bunch of water from the reservoir that they don't really have in excess. So we're gonna need that water in August, you know, when the temperatures are, you know, possibly triple-digit heat and the river is, you know, warm. I mean, what's that going to do for the adult salmon that are in the river that are preparing to spawn in September, you know? So just a lot of thought, you know, that should go into the process. But unfortunately, at least from our standpoint, we can't see a whole lot of it. If you are planning on fishing over the Memorial Day weekend, just do the best that you can. You know, PMDs, like we said, yellow sallies, caddis. The days when the wind hasn't been fired up too. Wind's going pretty good today, but you can see here in Rinehart, you know, there's lots of great cover. And I was in here earlier this week. There are some new trees down. You know, and when we see these pushes of water too creating erosion, you know, it'll knock more trees down. Especially when you get these big water events, it creates erosion along the banks, you know, and then you get a big strong wind, 30-40 miles an hour, it knocks stuff down. So if you are floating in specific sections of the river, you got to have a heads up when this happens, because one day you can have a clear channel, the next day it could be blocked. So for guys and gals on the sticks, you just got to have a heads up and pay attention, you know, to where you're at and what's downriver, so you don't run into problems. Other than that, we'll be open through the weekend. Probably will take Monday off so we can enjoy the holiday too. Other than that, everybody enjoy your Memorial Day. Thank you, veterans, past, present. We appreciate you. Appreciate all the people in service. So if you're traveling, travel safe, drive safe. and get to your destination in one piece so you can enjoy the holiday. Until then, we'll see you next week, everybody.